Welcome to the Digital Accomplice Podcast. Today we're joined by Danny DelVecchio from Video on Easy Mode. Welcome, Danny.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, us as well. So I thought it might be fun to just let you introduce yourself, give us a little bit of your background, what you do. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So, Danny DelVecchio, I own a very niche video marketing agency, call it Video on Easy Mode. And basically, what we do is we help founders and companies, business owners to create video content specifically for LinkedIn, but also working on other platforms like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, all the video platforms, right? But we focus mainly on LinkedIn because I have a 20-year B2B sales background. And the majority of the clients that we work with are in the B2B space and looking to create content for their business, not necessarily creating content to become influencers, right? So our agency helps them create video content remotely. We have a really smooth process that makes it easy, that they can do it in a very short period of time, and also make it comfortable so they can be themselves and be authentic and actually enjoy creating some of the video content as opposed to feeling the pressure and stress to be able to deliver. So it's a good,
Right.
it's been a cool thing. We've helped over 100 different business owners and founders and companies over the last 2 years, and we've done thousands of videos. So it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun getting to know you and following you and seeing what you're doing on LinkedIn. It's been inspirational for me as someone who's always been behind the camera. Now I'm starting to turn it around and how do we play that game? So you've been a good success story and mentor for me by proxy or by watching. So I just wanted to kind of start out with what's like a recent win for you? What's been working well? Because it's crazy out there right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess what's working the best for me is video on LinkedIn. 2 years ago, when I started creating content on LinkedIn, people were like, yeah, what you do here, it's not going to work. And I'm like, okay, we'll see about that. And I continued to put out short form videos. I had been creating content on Instagram before. So that's kind of where I learned how to do the whole short form video thing. And I brought it over to LinkedIn. And like I said, a lot of people were like, yeah, your style, it's not going to work here. And but I also noticed that there was a gap in the market for LinkedIn. People wanted to do video. People understood the power of it when it came to building trust, building connections, helping, get your face out there, get your voice out there in front of your target clients to help you build that, know, like, trust factor, right? I know it's cliche, but it's a true one. And I went all in on LinkedIn video, and it has served me very well because I have built my entire business on basically getting all of my clients through LinkedIn video. And that's exactly what also I help them deliver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly seems like from where I'm standing, like it's working, and it's nice to hear you say that as well. On the flip side of that, it can't all be roses, right? So, what's your biggest marketing challenge now, and what are you doing with video to sort of address that?
Yeah. So I guess my biggest challenge right now is trying to figure out how to expand to other platforms outside of just LinkedIn. So, I've been working on YouTube. I worked on YouTube a lot in 2024, just from the perspective of just getting content out there and not really having any expectations for having any return on the platform. But like I said, just kind of pumping it up, building a kind of library of content that I can use to direct people to and direct clients and potential clients to. And this year, I want to continue to grow that as a channel. I also want to start to figure out how to turn my YouTube channel and some of the content that I'm creating there into another conversion channel. Also looking to grow some other conversion channels like email. So I've been doing some content that's helping me to bring people from my LinkedIn video content or from my LinkedIn profile over to my email list. And obviously providing some good value and some I can take it a little bit level deeper in the content that I do on both YouTube and in my email than I can do in a LinkedIn post, right? On the LinkedIn post, I kind of have to stay, relatively short, relatively surface level. And on those other platforms, I could take it a little bit deeper.
Right. Okay. And so you were saying how you've helped over 100 people, and you've probably done thousands of videos at this point.
Totally.
I'm imagining you've got to have AI working for you in this process somewhere. Are you using AI in your video production process? And if so, where? Like, how's that working for you?
Yeah. So for the most part, I mean, I do occasionally use AI for some ideation, and definitely use it to. But I would say the main factor, or the main AI tool that's really serving me the most right now is my Fathom, that records all my sales calls, because it takes all my sales calls and delivers a summary and lists out the pain points that the client has. It lists out the requirements that the clients have. And then I am using those pain points and those requirements and the words that they're using, to describe, how they're using video or whatnot. And I use a lot of that in creating my content. So that's been probably the biggest thing on the ideation side. And then I'm also using AI to repurpose some of my video content into written stuff. So it's always good to obviously have more content out there. It's always good to enhance your videos with captions and written posts to go with it. So basically what I've been doing is kind of using some of the AI tools. And I find that when you give when you feed your own video content into some of these AI writing tools, you get the best output, because it's really capturing your voice, it's capturing your tone, it's capturing the words that you use. And, I can create a post from my video and get almost like 80 to 90% of the way there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And you've sort of touched on this already, but I wanted to ask you about like the repurposing that you're doing. Can you dive a little deeper into like what that model looks like and like the process for repurposing at scale?
Yeah, totally. So one of the things that I spend the most time creating is my long form YouTube videos. So that I really take that very deep and detailed, and basically that's kind of my long form base content, so to speak. And from that long form content, that also can potentially give me a bunch of ideas that I can use to create shorter form videos. And then that also, I take that long form YouTube video and I turn that into my email newsletter for the week too. So that one base kind of piece of content, I'm able to branch off from that and use that. So that's like, as far as repurposing, I mean, I certainly do that. And then there's also times where I will go back and just some of the videos that I've had that have been very successful, and either developing them into a written post, developing them into a new idea that's something, just a new take on the same topic. Um, or sometimes just resharing the same post from 6 months ago, right?
Right.
It's all well done. It's all high quality. And people don't even remember what they ate for dinner 3 days ago, let alone what you posted 6 months ago.
Right.
So occasionally do that as well.
Right. Okay. So I'm really excited to hear what you think about like the measurement aspect of this. Like, it's kind of a contentious issue, I think, especially now with like a zero click kind of world. Like, if we don't have the data, like, how do we know this is working? Like, I think you and I sort of intuitively in our bones know that video makes sense, right? Like, what else are you going to do?
Sure.
But like, how do you talk to people about this level of investment of time and money that it's definitely going to be worth it? What's the sort of the talking points on that one?
Yeah, totally. I'd probably say that it ranks up there in like one of the top two or top three objections that I get is like, how do I know what the ROI is going to be on my video content? And I start to kind of break it down from the perspective. First, I say at one point, like if you're going to create 1 or 2 videos, people are going to forget you. But when you start to get into this next level where you're creating, let's say 5 to 10 videos, people have seen you that many times, that now people are starting to put a face to a name. There's starting to become like a level of familiarity there, right? Level of connection. But when you're at the point where people have seen you 20, 30, 40, 50 times on video, people like you're like a celebrity at that point. And one of the main benefits is people jump on sales calls with me, and it's like they've known me forever, and they feel like they know me forever, and it makes the sales call very smooth, because what happens is like when you're in a sales situation, as soon as the person that's being sold to jumps into that sales call, their defenses are automatically up already.
Yeah.
Right. And when you have this video content as like the basis, the defenses are down. And all I need to say is like, hey, tell me a little bit about what you're doing and what you need. And then I can walk you through my program. And if you feel like it's a good fit for you and it makes sense, then we could talk about pricing. And people are just like, yeah, let's do it. And it becomes a really nice conversation. And my sales process has never been easier and smoother. But I also like to break it down into what is one client worth to you, right?
Yeah.
Because, for me, like my services, I would not call them super high ticket, right? Like, I can create video for people for as low as $600 a month or as high as $2,000 a month, right? So again, like I said, it's an investment, but it's not a mega huge investment. So I always kind of tell people to break it down. Well, what's one client worth to you? Because if you've been creating video for 6 months and you only need to get 3 clients from it to get a more than return on your investment, then like I'm pretty confident that you doing video 2 to 3 times a week for 6 months is going to help you land 3 clients.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then there are obviously those off opportunity or those off situations where people will say this video brought in 5 leads and I closed 3 of them. That happens. That's not out of the realm of possibility. It certainly happens. But most of those people where that's happening, they've been doing it for a good period of time.
Yeah. And then I imagine that you're probably running into one of the objections is probably people that like don't want to be on camera. They're uncomfortable. They're worried, like, is it going to be good enough?
Sure.
What if I say something wrong? Like all those sort of interrelated issues. Are you finding that like for your clients that have like seen you, known you, is that part of the conversation, or are they already like past that by the time they're kind of talking to you? And sort of like, how do you handle that issue when it does come up?
There are definitely people that are talking to me that are afraid to get on camera. And I think that's also part of the beauty of this service. And it was one of the reasons that I even created this whole thing. Going back to like how the first client that I worked with on that did what is now video on easy mode, was a friend of mine who was just absolutely deathly afraid of camera. I had asked him, I was like, hey man, can you record a video for me? I'm like, here's exactly what I want you to do. Here's exactly what I want you to say. And this is a very like outgoing guy, has no problem getting in front of a room full of people and speaking. And he gave me the worst video ever. And I'm like, man, I don't even know how this is not workable. And I said to him, I was like, hey, come join me in this studio and I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions and just answer them. Just tell me a little bit about the business, just answer the questions. And 20 minutes later, we had enough to cut 10 videos. And that's when I realized, I'm like, I got something here. Because I just make the process of gathering that information out of you just make it very comfortable, because it could be very conversational, or depending on people's level of experience with the camera, it could be more structured, I would say.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious also, like, to get your take about like where the market kind of is and where we're headed. This is like a video for B2B on LinkedIn is kind of like, I think it's pretty still new in the rollout.
Sure.
LinkedIn has been promoting that. And I think people are kind of starting to catch on, but I think there's going to be a lot of lag in that. So like, what's your sense about the opportunity here in general and where it's headed? Are we early adopters at this stage?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're creating video on LinkedIn right now, you are still an early adopter. Obviously, LinkedIn rolled out the new video feed. So that, which to me just shows they're committed to promoting video on their platform. And if you look at the demographics of who's on LinkedIn, I think I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's like 70% of users are below the age of 35. It's something insane like that. And LinkedIn knows that the way that those people want to consume content, they're not looking to read content anymore. So LinkedIn has traditionally obviously been behind the other social media platforms as far as adoption of like what is trending and everything like that, right? And I think that it's gonna continue to evolve, but I think that the people that are getting in on it now are going to be at an advantage, because there's going to be a demand for people coming over from other platforms, right? I think with this less than 24-hour ban that we had on TikTok here,
Yeah.
that was a wake-up call for a lot of creators on that platform, and people don't take TikTok seriously, right? Because they
Not
think,
B2B.
oh, yeah, they don't. And I get it. There's a lot of wild shit on TikTok, right? But they should take it seriously, because there's a lot of serious business creators on there that have serious businesses and are bringing in clients, high ticket clients, through that platform. And those people are going to look to come over someplace. And, obviously Instagram is kind of the most, I would say the likeliest choice that they would go. But I also think that they're going to look at LinkedIn and they're going to see there's an amazing opportunity to reach higher level people. There's a higher conversion rate, and the organic reach is very strong. Right. So I think that there's going to be a lot of other people that are going to come over here and bring their content over here. And like I said, they are serious people and serious creators and serious businesses. And so I think that that's going to play into it. And then obviously just people are going to get better, right? So like the more people create video, the better they're going to get. So I think LinkedIn will be doing more and more video as we kind of go on here into the future. And I think the people that are getting into it now are getting in like when you got into TikTok early.
Yeah, right. And as you're talking to people about doing more video, I imagine that there's a conversation about like, okay, we have our business strategy, we've kind of got a marketing strategy, and maybe even a content strategy. How do we add video into that? Is it like something on top, or does it somehow replace other things that you're doing? Do those conversations come up for you, and like how are you talking to people about that?
Yeah, totally. So first off, if people have things that they're working on, that if the people have things that are working for them, you obviously don't want to disrupt that, right? But you want to enhance it, make it even better. So if your strategy is not working at all, then I could say go very aggressive on doing more videos. But if you have a strategy that is working for you, you need to kind of slowly work it in. So as far as where a good starting point is, to me, 2 videos a week is where to start. You're getting your face out there a couple times a week. You're introducing your audience to like, hey, this is the kind of, I'm going to be putting out this content. So you're kind of, warming them up. You're going to test it out a little bit and, test a couple different formats, see what people respond to. But I find that when people are well established already, they have a well established brand, and they start to put out video content, that it's very well received.
Right. Yeah.
So like I said, you don't want to completely change your entire strategy to incorporate video, unless your strategy is just not working at all. Then sure,
Right.
go for it.
Well, then, does it ever end up being the case where someone says, like, video is just not for us, couldn't possibly work, we're not going to do it? Do you ever get to that point? And if so, do you try and convince them, or do you say, okay, actually, that makes sense, this maybe isn't for you? Or is that just not a viable excuse?
I mean, I don't think it's a viable excuse, but I think it's more along the lines of like, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's like, because it just makes them uncomfortable and they're not ready to step out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it is. Because if you look at the LinkedIn creators, right? You look at the people on the platform that, have had success on the platform. The top guy or whatever, I guess, like, I look at the top guy on LinkedIn as like a guy, Justin Welsh, right? He doesn't need to do video. He doesn't need to, because he's got the market already. Like, he's got 500,000 followers. Like, every post is getting thousands and thousands of likes and comments and everything. But you look at some of these other people that are considered kind of the LinkedIn influencers, the Jasmine Alex and Luke Matthews and Laura Acostas of the world, and they're all doing videos now. It's not their entire strategy, but it's 100% part of their strategy.
Yeah. So then, if people are like listening to us and they're like, okay, I like what I'm hearing, I'm kind of on board, but like I'm not quite convinced or something like that, do you have like a biggest piece of advice that you would want to give to people about how, like, what to do with video or how to get started, or just the big takeaway here? What would that be for you?
Yeah. So the big takeaway here is you need to get comfortable on camera, and that there's just one way to get comfortable on camera, and it's just practice, right? So the best thing that I always tell people to do as they are getting started is every day for 30 days, to give yourself this 30-day challenge. Every day for 30 days, grab your phone and talk into your phone about something that you're doing that day, and like for 30 seconds at minimum, right? 30 seconds to a minute. And you don't have to share it with anybody. Just get yourself into the habit of, hey, something just happened and I just got this idea, and instead of me writing the idea down or doing a voice note, I'm going to grab the phone and I'm going to talk about it. Or I just had a meeting with a client, I'm just going to go in and talk about how that client meeting went, right?
Right.
If you just do this every day for 30 days, like even if you get 1% better every day, right? You're like increasing, you're 30% better. But you have to think, like, if you've never done it before, like, how much better are you going to get from day 1 to day 2? Like, a lot. And then from day 2 to day 3, you're going to get a lot better. And from day 3 to 4, and so it is going to compound so much that, like, after 30 days, like, you're going to feel a lot more confident than you were on day 1. And I always tell people the trick is on day 30, you need to go back and you need to watch video number 1. And then immediately after that, watch video number 30, because you're going to see the incremental progress for sure. There's going to be no doubt. And that should help inject them with the confidence to say, all right, I did this thing. I did this challenge. I can do this.
Right.
And the next, I think, level of that is, if you really want to give yourself that challenge, is put those videos on Instagram or TikTok or whatever stories, right? Because those videos disappear in 24 hours. So you're not worried about getting polished content out there because it's going to be living on your feed forever, right? But you're still able to get yourself out there. You're still able to get the practice in, and also, get over your fear of like hit and post, right? Because in 24 hours it's going to be gone. So like, that's how I got started. I got started on Instagram stories. That's how I got started with video. I did Instagram stories every day, I think for an entire year straight. So, and multiple, sometimes, 2, 3, 4 times I would jump on. It was just anytime I had a thought that I wanted to get out there, I was just getting out there and sharing it.
Yeah, putting in the reps, and then it kind of makes sense. How are you not going to make progress like that?
Yeah, and then the other thing is you can be really good on video right away if you have somebody on the other side giving you the direction, right? Because it's almost, there's the opportunity for you to practically forget that the camera is even there.
Right.
I did a post today actually on LinkedIn where I said my new favorite thing to do is help people crush their first video ever.
Right.
I've been doing this podcast or whatever with where I basically help people create a video, and you kind of see the behind the scenes of me helping them with the video, and then it goes into the final reveal of what the video ends up looking like. And the video that we did today was the guy's, he's never done a short form. I mean, he's done podcasts before and he's clipped them, but he's never done like a video where he's, it's planned out of what we're doing, and it has a hook and it has a call to action and everything. Right. And crushed. It's first one.
That's awesome. It sounds like you're having fun with it, and it's helping people. It's you're doing the good thing for people. So
it's awesome. Yeah, it's so much fun. It's fun that I get to do this every day. Like, this is what I do for a living. I wasn't, and I'm not a video production guy. Like, you probably know way more about video production than I do. Like, I'm a sales guy.
Yeah,
right?
I think we actually kind of make two sides of the same coin, or like some total package thing. Like, you're very charismatic and experienced on camera, and you got that sales experience, the customer facing. I've got production behind the camera, and am learning how to kind of you're learning how to do video. I'm learning how to be in front of the camera. So we're kind of like, I don't know, circling around the same issues, but from different directions. So
yeah, totally. Like, I mean, as far as like getting lighting and getting the camera positioned right and the settings and all, like, I don't know any of that stuff. Now, obviously I've learned over the last couple years, and I've learned, like, I know how to get some good lighting. I don't need to have, I know how to like go outside and shoot the right way, and I know how to get good sound. So like, I've learned some of that stuff, but I have very basic level knowledge when it comes to that. And and people don't need a lot of production knowledge in order to get started. You just need a smartphone. That's it.
It's interesting. I've kind of been on the reverse journey. I think you've been trying to make your stuff better and better. I've almost been trying to make it like dumbed down, right? Like, I have to, like, how do you make this more scalable, repeatable? Like, I'm just on a webcam now. This isn't like some expensive, like one of these other cameras, right?
Right.
And so, like, I wanted to kind of prove to myself and to the audience, it's not about the camera. It's not about the lights. Yes, you need to see you and hear you, but it's about the message. And like, you've really got that dialed in with like the hooks and all that. And so I'm learning that formula, kind of like learning how to play the prosumer game, right? Yeah. And so, I don't know, just, it's interesting opposite journey for me. So
yeah, totally. And and like, I want to learn more on the production side, but like, I certainly don't want to learn how to do the editing. Like, I'm not interested at all.
Well, it's never been easier to outsource that stuff. And there's amazing people all over the world doing this for pretty competitive pricing by US standards. So,
totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I think this is probably a good place to wrap up, but I wanted to give you an opportunity. Like, if people are liking what you're saying, they're like, I want more Danny in my life. What's a good way for them to get in touch with you, or maybe follow your newsletter, that sort of thing?
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you just find me on LinkedIn, Danny DelVecchio, you could, that's like the number one place. If you wanted to get on my newsletter, you can go to coachdannyd.com. And then also my YouTube channel, which is, really where my best content is, because I'm putting the most time and effort into creating, that long form content for YouTube. So, and I'm very easy to find. Coach Danny D. You'll see me. I got the hat backwards, slightly to the side, so you can't miss me.
Yeah, right. Well, Danny, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for leading the charge and sharing your insights and making time to do this. I know I'll see you on LinkedIn, but thank you for doing this today.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was excuse me. Thank you so much for having me. I really, I appreciate it. And always happy to support fellow video content creators. I mean, that's what we do, right?
Yeah, we're early adopters, as you say, and the pie is just going to get bigger and bigger. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, have a good one.